at the office, Cleveland's home for sports talk that never clocks out. From the latest headlines to heated debates, we're diving into everything sports. It's your hosts, Noah, John, and Erik.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the office, the show where we talk all things sports. I'm your host, Erik, and I'm joined by my co-hosts, John and Noah. And you can join us at the office, too. Send us a comment on YouTube, Facebook, or X, or text the show at 216-260-3433. That's 216-260-3433. We have such a good show for you guys tonight. But before we get into it, I want to hear, John, Noah, how you fellas doing tonight?
I'm good, brother.
Good, man. I'm enjoying the new layout. Get to be up close and personal with your beautiful guys' faces. And I'm ready to talk some sports. We got the Super Bowl. We got some Buckeyes. We got some Browns. I'm ready to get into it, man.
We've got quite the show. John, how are you doing?
Doing well, brother. Good to be with you. Same. It's always that bittersweet week where it's like the Super Bowl is so – I guess it's 2 weeks, but the Super Bowl is so great and then no football till August. So trying to sink my teeth in and enjoy it.
It is the most depressing time of year. As soon as football, and thank God we have the Cavs, but as soon as football ends and it's still cold, it's 5 degrees out, snow's coming down, and you're like, all right, I'm waiting for spring. This is misery. That's Ohio for you. But tonight we have some fun topics because we do still have football, and we'll get to that in a minute because first I want to do one of our favorite takes, and that's 30-second takes. And we've got to talk about what's going on with the Miami Heat and Jimmy Butler. For those not in the know, there's been a lot of back and forth. Jimmy Butler was suspended by the Heat for conduct detrimental to the team. Basically what that means is Jimmy Butler and Pat Riley are butting heads, and I will tell you Pat Riley will win. They recently suspended him indefinitely, so he came back from that suspension. And it should be noted that they're not just doing this without any sort of cause. Jimmy Butler's kind of been a nuisance to their organization. He's saying that in the press that he doesn't really want to play for them, that he's not happy, he's demanding a trade. And when that's not working out, he's kind of just doing his own thing. There's been instances in the past where he's been sick, but he's playing soccer with Paul Pogba, and posting them online. It's a crazy saga, but I want to hear from you two. Let's get the clock up. I'm going to go with John today to go first. John, I want your 30-second take. What are your thoughts on all this?
Yeah, it's a shame to see the team that was capable of making the finals a few short years ago has been reduced to this, but I think this is kind of par for the course for Jimmy Butler. He's an insane talent. He's really good, but if anybody said – we're not winning, and I've been here more than 3 years, and I'm pissed and I'm out of here is like not what you expected out of Jimmy Butler. You probably just haven't been paying that close attention to how this guy operates. If he wants out, they'll let him out. I wish they could have done it professionally, but, you know, when two sides agree to split, so be it.
Are you saying you wish Jimmy Butler had done it professionally for the record, or the Heat?
I think both. Yes, Jimmy Butler for sure, because he seems like a petulant child. But at the same time, there hasn't been all that much out in the media about like Jimmy Butler did all these awful things, and the Heat are like, you're suspended, you're suspended, you're suspended. And it's kind of like we all know what's probably going on, but they haven't said, you know, he did X, Y, Z. So I don't know, put your name on it and own it and tell the folks what's going on.
Interesting take. He did, speaking of being a child, was it yesterday or today? He posted a video of his black card getting declined and saying that he is out of a job. So he is he's just poking fun at it. Literally a video of him like tapping his Amex black card. Noah, 30 seconds. I want to hear your take.
I don't need 30 seconds for this because I am just enjoying the world's greatest live and in-person petty off between a billionaire and a millionaire. It has been fantastic. I don't care what happens in Miami because they aren't from CLE. That's where I'm at, man. Jimmy Butler can cry me a river. Pat Riley can cry me a river. They can all cry me a river. I don't care. Blow up. Do whatever you want to do.
I love Noah's 30-second takes always. He brings the energy. He sets the tone. I love it. Throw that timer up there for me. I kind of agree with both of you guys. I will say that there was an article that came out, an ESPN insider article that really detailed what Jimmy Butler has done and how he's kind of set himself apart purposefully from this team. I'm always hesitant to pick a side here because, like you said, you're going against an ownership and leadership that really can take advantage of players at times. We've talked in the past about there being racial issues with that. That's more with the NFL, but you can kind of see that line. I'm out of time, but that is to say, I think that there is fault on both sides, like you said, John. But after that article dropped, Jimmy just sounds like a terrible diva starlet. I'm so glad that there's no talk of him coming to the Cavs. Go to the Warriors, blow that up. I'm fine with that. He can play ball, don't get me wrong. But some of the things like where he's during those finals, he's staying an hour away in some mansion instead of a hotel with the team or even a hotel separate from the team. He flies private from the team everywhere. He sounds like a starlet. He's a prima donna. I don't know. I kind of signed with the Heat here, and I like Pat Riley, so I'm taking his side.
It's interesting to me because I don't think we've ever really viewed Jimmy Butler as anything other than a diva that's competitive. You know what I mean by that is, going with the twos and beating the ones in Minnesota is like one of the prime Jimmy Butler stories, right? I've never seen him do this media diva, whatever verb you want to or adjective you want to put on this. We've never seen him do something like this to this level, right? He's gotten his way out of teams before because they're not competing and he wants to win. And that's, I think, completely commendable. But it's so interesting to me that we're going the absolute most petty way possible. I'm here for it, like I said in my 30-second take, but I just would have never thought this from him.
I
agree. I think he's a whack job. And yeah, I think he's a whack job. He's nuts. I was going to say Barry called him out. I think that's true, but two things can be true at once. Dennis Rodman was a whack job and nuts. Scottie Pippen was a whack job and nuts. Phil Jackson had a lot of managing of personalities to do both in Chicago and in Los Angeles, and he did it well. You don't be a billionaire and have $1 billion team and pay players hundreds of millions of dollars and then go, you're being mean and you're kind of a diva. Yeah, they're all divas. They make 9 figures to play sports. They never had to grow up. And Jimmy Butler, this is par for the course. So manage the talent, put a team around him to compete or cut bait. Like, I'm not saying his behavior is justified, but who's surprised? Damn sure not Phil Jackson.
Hold on. I don't like this take only because normally I would side with the players, but the man is under contract. You're asking him to fulfill his contract. Okay, he wants out of Miami. He tells you that. They didn't find a trade partner. It didn't work out. So what, they're supposed to just bend over backwards, take whatever they can, and offload him? That's what I don't like. And we're seeing it more and more. These player unions are so powerful. We're seeing guys where their contract's up a year from now, and they're demanding all of this, or I'll sit, or I'll do this. I'm kind of sick of that. You get paid a lot of money to play the sport. Play the sport.
See, but I
agree with you,
to side with the millionaires over the billionaires, man. Like, I don't really care about what the ownership or whatever's going on in Miami. They don't care about their fans like they act like they do. I think the players have more of a chance to actually care. I saw a video earlier today of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander signing and giving a jersey to a kid, being nice. That Pat Riley isn't doing shit like that. No one cares.
Pat Riley's not a billionaire or the owner, for the record.
I know that, but I'm saying even if you wanted to go Kobe Altman, for example, you don't see that kind of thing happening with those guys.
But the thing that I would say super quick, Eric, because you hit me on my point. I just wanted to make something clear. I agree with you on what you said, but a player getting suspended is not him refusing to play. A player getting suspended is the team saying you can't play. And until somebody comes,
he did refuse to play. He said
and he's also stirring the
play,
drama.
He's posting video. I mean, when he's caused this, it'd be like me coming into work for our television station and spouting off to our clients about a different television station. You should go advertise with them. They're probably going to fire me. So I understand them suspending him. It's interesting, the indefinite part of it. It's also interesting that Miami is Pat Riley's team. I know I just said he's not the owner, and he's not, but you're not going to go up against Pat and win in this situation.
No.
And
Well,
I kind of love that because a lot of players would. But I want to point one thing out. That ESPN article was very clear. Jimmy Butler has gotten concessions and has been able to do things that they said they didn't even do for LeBron and D Wade. That's how much of a diva this guy is. He's nowhere near that talent level. I don't know. I'm just over it. I'm here for the drama and the popcorn, like Noah said, but I don't side with Jimmy at all in this case.
If they don't touch Cleveland or Ohio sports for that matter, and I'm not talking about that city down in Kentucky that claims to be from Ohio, he could do whatever he wants. He can cry up a storm. He could do it in New York. He could do it in Atlanta. He could do it in Golden State, LA. I don't give a damn.
yeah, and I
Phoenix.
definitely don't.
Not here.
I'm not defending him 100%. In my mind, it's like 55-45. Like, I'm kind of in the middle on it. But I will tell you this: it's gonna piss a lot of people off. When Jimmy Butler gets someplace else, that team's going to be really good for 3 years, because when Jimmy Butler has a chip on his shoulder and this stuff blows up, what he does is go to Miami and drag the Heat to the finals. So whether you like him or hate him, the guy's wherever he goes is going to probably be a contender next year with him on the team, maybe this year.
I'm rooting for the Suns only because I don't think they can do that because their cap is ridiculous. But KD cannot mesh, and I don't know that it would work there. But I agree with what you're saying. I mean, he is a baller, and he will take you by himself to the championship. Any last words before we move on?
Yeah, man, I'm just curious to see how this whole thing ends. If he's going to end up getting traded or if he's going to have to sit in Miami and enjoy the beach and all of that for the time being.
And no paycheck. All right. I want to move on. I want to talk Super Bowl. But first, At the Office is now sponsored by D&D Meadery, the finest mead in Northeast Ohio. Derek and Dominic are twin brothers that have a passion for craftsmanship, and they took that love for winemaking straight from their ancestors in Germany, and they brought it here to share with all of us. It's in their blood, centuries of tradition now bottled up for you to enjoy. They're not just making mead, they're bringing an ancient drink back to life, one pour at a time. And let me tell you, Noah and I are holding up their gold-winning honey wine right now. This is the real deal. Before I finish, John, you also have a bottle. I didn't get it.
Correction, Erik. I had a bottle. I polished it off last night. Mary and I split it.
I dropped off his bottle last night.
You drank it already?
Yeah, we don't have show alcohol in this house. Alcohol is
First of all, this is a show prop so that I can show the people this is what you should get. And do you have the bottle still at least?
No, today's trash day. It's on the curb. I might go see if I can. You know what?
The
I'll just buy
bottle's
another
gone?
one. I will tell you this.
So how did you like it?
It was fire. If you like honey, it's delicious. I do a little bit of distilling and home brewing of my own with wines and beers and things of the kind, and using honey as the main fermenter. I won't get too nerdy on you, but it was delicious. It was sweet. It was smooth. No carbonation. I really enjoyed it.
I might have to go buy a bottle that's not to tell you guys all about this wonderful mead, so that I can have some as well.
Recork it. You could drink it and recork it and still use it as
that
a
is
prop.
true. I will say I have had some as well though, and it is very, very good. Here's the best part. Sorry, we took a little divergent from the read there, but here's the best part. If you use code @TheOfficeCLE, that's @the-office-CLE. When you order, you'll get an extra 5% off your order. And if you order 2 or more bottles, you'll get this free shot glass with your purchase as well. So visit dndmeadery.org. That's dndmeadery.org to find a retail location near you where you can purchase the mead. Must be 21 or older. Please drink responsibly.
I kept the shot
Gentlemen,
glass.
You kept the shot. Oh, I'm glad.
It's in the dishwasher because I drank the meat out of it last night, but I kept the shot glass.
That's great.
John
man.
is
That's
wild.
fantastic.
I'm here for it. That is D&D Meadery. Gentlemen, Super Bowl 58 is here, and I'm not that excited. But we have the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Stop me if you've heard this one before. It's a rematch. I wouldn't say for the ages, et cetera, et cetera. It should be fun, actually. I'm looking forward to it a little bit. We'll break down who we're each rooting for and who we think will win in a second. Of course, the big storyline going in right now is Taylor Swift. I'm just kidding. The big storyline is, can they three-peat? Can the Kansas City Chiefs three-peat, which has not been done. It's been done in, if I'm not mistaken, every professional sport with the exception of the NFL. Is that correct?
I have to check baseball. There's so many years somebody
Baseball
had
might
to have,
not. You're right.
yeah,
No,
somebody
the
had
Yankees
to have
did.
done
The
it.
Yankees three-peated.
Yeah, I was gonna say it doesn't happen often, but no, it's a rarity. It's tough to do.
It is rarefied air indeed. The Eagles, on the other hand, they've had that resurgence with Saquon Barkley joining them. He very nearly broke the rushing record. I really wish they would have given him a shot at it. He's such a team guy, though. I don't even think he really cares about that record at all. It should be a little bit fun, and I don't think it's that lopsided of a match. But you guys tell me. We're going to start with John. What are your thoughts on the matchup? Who do you have? Who are you rooting for? What are you most excited for? Give it to me straight.
Real quick, I want to just get something in here, and this isn't
I'm gonna
me
let you
over
finish in a
talking
minute.
you, John.
Noah said
It is Super Bowl 59. That was a typo. My apologies. It is Super Bowl 59.
Where's the typo? Isn't LIX 59?
I just changed it.
Oh,
on the fly. That was smooth.
It was smooth. I was like, I think you got it, buddy. Don't throw the flag on yourself when there's no
I'm
penalty.
also upset because you let John start 30-second takes, and you're letting him start this again now too.
You know what,
Did
Noah?
Yeah.
I can't figure it out. Noah, go ahead.
No, John's going to go first because I am the host, and Noah, maybe I'll let you go first on the next topic. John, I want to hear what you have to say.
This guy, man.
So growing up, I was a chronic hater of dynasties. I can't stand the Yankees, the Cowboys, or the Bulls. Wasn't a huge Jordan fan. I can appreciate him, but I got sick of all these teams that seemingly, in my mind at the time, won all the time. As I get a little bit older, I start to appreciate the greatness and the rarity of what we're watching, even if it gets a little bit old. Watching the greats dominate is something you never want to take for granted. Like, I can tell you right now, watching 40-year-old LeBron run up and down the court for a Lakers team that's probably not going to win a championship this year, I wish I would appreciate the time we had with him more. I'm going to appreciate the time I had watching Pat Mahomes. So it's okay that they're in the third Super Bowl. We kind of saw this coming. If you read the tea leaves, maybe I'll get into that on my hot take. But I'm looking forward to the game. It's the Super Bowl. We got Kendrick Lamar. We got all kinds of great performances. We got
mustard. Anyway,
we got two really good football teams who have been pretty much best in the business for most of the year. I am excited to see really high quality football. I watched the Browns win 3 games this year, and that's most of my football. They're going to do a little bit better than that out there on the field, especially when you look at the AFC and NFC championship. What transpired there? The Eagles offense looked unstoppable. But then the Chiefs, the Eagles defense gave up a ton of points. They just scored a ton of points. Or the Chiefs going to get the Eagles defense. You got some of the best coordinators on both sides of the ball for both teams that you have in any sport, in addition to 2 really good head coaches. By the time the game gets here, I'll be excited, especially if you throw a couple of things on a little parlay for everything from the coin toss to the color of the Gatorade. It's the Super Bowl, man. I'm excited, and
going red.
I normally would go with it. Like, Eagles fans are, if somebody said Cleveland has the second best fans in the world, but not first, who's number one? I would say maybe Philly. They're obnoxious. They're rude. They're nasty.
Did you say trashiest fans or?
Well,
Hey now, I got some Philly fan friends, and they are not trashy people. Shout out Senna. Shout out Ryan. Both of you guys are fantastic. You are not trashy. Don't let my man drag you.
They are the trashiest fan base. But go on, John.
They booed Santa and Beyonce and everything in between, but they get it like we get it, and they're super passionate, and that's why I kind of dig it. And normally, in all things being equal, I'd probably root for the Eagles. But I played high school hockey with Jason Kelsey, went to Cleveland Heights. Travis was a few years behind me. Given the choice between these two teams, I got to root for the Heights kids. So I'll be pulling for the Chiefs. But, what do you think, Noah?
Yeah, man.
Hold on. Because there's 2 interesting things there.
Yeah.
The first being that Jason, your boy, is rooting for the Eagles. He dropped that on his own podcast that he's rooting for his brother, but he's pulling for the Eagles. I don't think
Showed
he could
up
say
on
anything
Higher
else.
Heights podcast in full-blown Eagles gear and was like, "What, is something wrong?"
Yeah, he's pulling for the Eagles, and it was funny because Travis is like, "This is bullshit."
That's hilarious. I didn't know that, actually. I listened to the In the Heights podcast, but I hadn't gotten the last episode yet, so that's fantastic.
I forget my second point. Noah, I want to hear from you.
Yeah, man, I think this is an interesting Super Bowl matchup, even though you alluded to thinking it was not. The Chiefs come into this 15-2, the Eagles 14-3. Arguably, I mean, they are at this point the best teams in both of their conferences. You could shout out a Lions, you could shout out a Bills, and maybe wanting them in there instead. Neither here nor there. This is the matchup we got. The last time we saw these two play was Super Bowl 57. Shout out Super Bowl 57 for catching my typo, because I was like, wait, this doesn't make the math sense at all. This game was in Glendale, Arizona. Shout out that turf, because it was horrible. So not a shout out. Screw that turf. That turf was horrible. Do you guys remember that, by the way? Slipping and sliding. It looked like a damn slip and slide out there.
Yeah, it was like they were playing on ice or something. It was, I don't know what was going on. That was wild.
Yeah, it was horrible. Chiefs obviously won that one 38-35. Patrick Mahomes was named the Super Bowl MVP. This is all great. This is all fine. This is all dandy. However, there's a team in Philly with some damn grit, with the best running back in the league.
Noah's going to start.
With a quarterback that I've had faith in more than my Philly friends have. I have had faith in Jalen Hurts from when he got drafted into that situation. I think this is the year the Eagles fly and soar and hit the heights, the higher heights of a Super Bowl victory. And Patrick Mahomes and Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, shout out Travis Kelce, we love you, can cry themselves a river because the Eagles are finally going to take one.
That's a take. Listen, I remember my second thing for John, and that was that the Mexican national fans are passionate too. That doesn't mean they're any less trash when they're throwing their bottles of piss onto the pitch. So I stand by. I'm sorry, Philadelphia. I won't show my face there. I had the best cheesesteak of my life in Philly, but their fans are trash. That said, who am I rooting for? I am rooting for Kansas City. For a couple reasons. I'm going to echo exactly what you said, John. I don't understand the hatred that this team and that Patrick Mahomes gets. He has done nothing but just be an excellent quarterback. Being able to watch him, just like being able to watch Brady and watch greatness in front of your eyes. Mind you, he's 29. He's already pushing Brady for some of these records.
Mm-hmm.
The kid is unbelievable. I can say kid now because I'm older than him, which is sad. But he's unbelievable. And I, for one, love watching the football. I love Andy Reid. Travis is all right. I don't mind when they cut to Taylor Swift. I swear to God, people just want things to complain about in their miserable lives, especially as Browns fans. They want to complain.
I'll complain every time about Taylor Swift. I hate her. Anyway.
Why?
I just don't like her music.
That's a wild you cannot like her music, but to hate her?
Okay, I'm sorry, John. I said hate. I was exaggerating there. I don't hate her.
Why'd you say John? I didn't say anything.
Because you're always particular with the words, so
that's
John
true.
is that Erik is perpetuating on the show right now.
Yeah, good call. That's fair.
Don't like her music. I find her annoying. And yeah, I could go without ever seeing Taylor Swift with my football, and now I'm going to see her
smart.
6 times on Sunday of Super Bowl.
Businesswoman. She's a great musician. Anyway, this isn't about Taylor Swift.
Ooh, but she can't sing. Hot take. You ever heard her live?
Can't sing.
Ugh.
Have you heard her live? Because you said, I will never see Taylor Swift live. I will never spend. So you've seen her live?
Not in person live. Like,
why are we talking about Taylor Swift on the damn sports podcast? I'll
That's
reel us in if you won't.
I'm not saying she stinks, but I'm closer to Noah than I am to you, Erik. I just think she's very overrated. For her to be above anybody from Ariana Grande to Beyonce is insane.
I think
get
Beyonce's
why she's
overrated.
Popular. Oh my God!
Beyonce is overrated.
But we won't
is
go
the
down.
hottest take that
is
you've ever
way
heard in your
worse.
entire life.
I want it all. Beehive, Philly fans, like, come on, pile on.
That is
Listen.
an after show topic in the making. We got to do an after show soon, gentlemen.
We do need to schedule a new one. Listen, let me get back to football, because even though I'm rooting for the Chiefs, by the way, my best friend is friends with Kareem Hunt too, and I like Kareem, so I want him to get a ring. That's another reason I'm rooting for the Chiefs. I gotta say though that I'm trying to pick a winner, and I'm struggling because I really think it can go both ways. Jalen Hurts is so underrated, criminally so. You know what his phone lock screen is? Have you guys seen this? His phone lock screen is him walking off the field in the Super Bowl loss with the Kansas City confetti behind him. That's his lock screen. This guy is dialed in. I have nothing but good things to say about Saquon. Noah said the other day, I can't believe you like him. You're a Penn State hater. I'm not a Penn State hater. I'll never forego the chance to say I'm a James Franklin hater because he's a fraud, but not a Penn State hater. I'm a big Barkley fan. What he's done in his career resurgence, I don't even know if resurgence is the right word because he was always dominant, but finally being valued for what he brings. I don't know, man. I don't know who's going to win, but I'll tell you this. I do not bet against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs because we've talked about it on the show before. They know how to win. They've been there. They can turn it on when they need to. I thought this Super Bowl, I hoped that this Super Bowl would be a Bills-Lions matchup, and we didn't get that. The Bills need to invest in some defensive pieces because Kansas City just strolled right through them. They could not be stopped on offense. We were watching, Noah and I were actually watching that game live. John was supposed to join us, but bailed. I don't know that Philly, especially like you guys said, they gave up a lot of points too to a rookie, mind you. I just don't know that they'll be able to stop KC. I don't know. I think it's going to be one for the ages. I'm rooting for Nick Sirianni's tears at the national anthem again. I am excited the more I talk about it. I'm most excited for the commercials. They've been a letdown the last couple years. What else? Anything else on your guys' mind for this game?
One name, period. Kendrick Lamar. I am so ready to watch that man dance on Drake's grave on live national television in the middle of Drake's mentor, Lil Wayne's hometown, and scream, "They not like us. They not like us." I am so ready for that concert. I have tickets for him and SZA in Detroit. And I know this is a sports show, but damn it, the Super Bowl halftime show is just as big of an event, if not bigger for most people. And I am so excited to see one of my favorite artists growing up, currently, and well into the future. I can guarantee that. Headline.
Mister, why are we talking about Taylor Swift? I know this is a sports show, but
I don't care. You guys are fine. I don't like Taylor Swift. I don't want to talk about her at the office. I'd rather go back and do my office work at that point. That's where I'm at. I want to talk Kendrick Lamar, however, I will sit here and talk for 30 minutes about Kendrick Lamar.
I love that Kendrick booked a show in Toronto this year as well. Like, that's just icing on the cake.
I am so ready for that. John, you mentioned the sports betting. I'm already setting money aside. I mean, I get my paycheck next week anyway, so I don't really need to set money aside, but mentally setting money aside in my bank account to put into the books. I always put like $50 into the books for the Super Bowl just to have a good time with it. Watching the game with my good buddy over here, Erik. I'm really excited for this event. Regardless if it's the matchup we wanted or didn't want, there's a lot of historical value here, a lot of potential, cementing names in history, whether it be on either side of the ball. Jalen Hurts proving a lot of doubters wrong. He was at Alabama, moved to Oklahoma. I'm really excited for this game, regardless of if it's a matchup we saw 2 years ago. Well, yeah, it's 2 years ago now. Time flies.
I'm excited too. And Erik, you said something that was interesting. You said, I'm having a hard time calling it. Yeah, you and everybody else, the spread is only 1.5 points. Favors the Chiefs last time I looked, but that's damn near as close as you can get to a coin toss, especially in a game of this magnitude. So wanted to bring that up. I think you're exactly right. Nobody knows who's going to win, but in a tie, you got to give it to Patrick Mahomes. To be the best, you got to beat the best. And to give a nod to Noah, I'm all about the music and halftime show too. Sleeper, underrated. I'm a big national anthem guy. Shout out Whitney Houston, Beyonce, and Lady Gaga for the best three, in my opinion. John Baptiste is going to bring it down, too.
I was going to say, who is it this year? But yeah, you
John
reminded me.
Baptiste, and he is, if you don't know
that's going to be amazing.
He's a musical genius. He can play a piano like you would not believe.
I'm not a country guy, but Chris Stapleton's was so good. Don't roll your eyes, Noah.
I loved it. Music.
I don't either, but he had that. What I like is the folksy, bluesy kind of music, the kind of soul music, not the you took my guitar and my dog died bullshit.
Drank a beer on my porch.
I don't know. I love that national anthem.
That's fair.
And
that's it's different. It's like comparing LeBron and Jordan, or like comparing that's like me saying my favorite car is a Corvette and you going, I like a Jeep Wrangler. It's like, okay, we just agree to disagree because there's no point in arguing.
Very different, but fair. It is different.
Well, Chris Stapleton and Beyonce are pretty different too in terms of what you're looking for in a national anthem. So his was very good too. Not better than Gaga or Queen Bee in my opinion, but Stapleton did a good job.
I think I'm just that Super Bowl was on Fox and they play that that ratted old flag. It's like a 2-minute video about what the flag's been through. And it's narrated by who is it?
If it wasn't Morgan Freeman, it's a missed opportunity. He should narrate everything.
You're right about that. But I think I was just feeling patriotic, and then he hit that, and then you see the Jets. I love all that stuff. You said 1.5, obviously in favor of the Chiefs, I imagine.
Correct.
That's that's a nothing line for sure.
What is the over under on the score?
I don't know.
It's got to be high.
It's probably
at least 42.
Pull it up. I'll guess.
Right. Okay, give me a second. Or are you doing it, E?
Yeah, I got it, you.
Okay. Anything else you're excited about, John, while we're sitting here for a second? You know, I'm just thinking about some of these matchups. A.J. Brown going out there. How many yards do you think Saquon Barkley is going to go for in this game?
180. He's going to run
180?
I was going to say 205, and he's going to get
205. I'll take those bets right now with you guys.
I'll take the over.
You want to put your money where your mouth is? I'll take the under on both of you.
No, I only bet with Tim Lyons when he's betting out of faith in his Notre Dame Fighting Irish. That's the only time I bet with friends.
Over under. I want to hear both of your guesses.
42.5.
All right, John.
After the Eagles gave up all those points, I was with you at 42.5 going into last weekend. I'm going to go 50 because the Eagles scored the shit out of the ball, and I got it like Chiefs 26, Eagles 24. Like, it's going to be so close.
Well, if we're playing Price is Right rules, you are wrong because it's 49.5, but you are close. 49.5 is the
We're not playing Price is Right rules.
No, I take the win. Where's the best take chain? Do I need to go grab mine real quick?
We're not starting that already. All right. Anything else on the Super Bowl?
The snack.
How many yards do you think Saquon's going for? You just said you'd take the bet. I was curious what your thoughts were.
I'll put him at. Here's what I think they need to do to win. I think they need to get the ball outside the lines, and I think they need to get it to playmakers other than Saquon. I think the Chiefs' defense will be stacking the box a bit, especially against the option. So the keys to the win, I think, is getting it to guys outside of that. Look for some screens early from the Eagles to try to penetrate that defense. But I'm going to put him at 112. I think he'll break 100 yards.
Did you look at the line, Erik?
I was just about to ask.
No.
That seems real suspect.
Because the line is 112.5.
No kidding. No, I did not look at that.
Yes,
that's wild.
I was going to ask you what it was, and the over-under on rush attempts is 22.5. So
22.5. No, I did not see that line. I'm just good. That's why I do this for a living. All right, gentlemen, we are going to take a quick break, but stay tuned because we're going to talk some national championship fallout. I'm just going to leave that little tease there after these messages. We'll be back. Welcome back to At the Office. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Check us out on Instagram and TikTok. And shout out to Fans for Sports, our parent network. Get in on the action and get some At the Office merch. It's not the holidays anymore. That my read is a little off here. But you can still get your loved one something cozy. It's at theofficecle.com. That's at theofficecle.com. And all of our socials you can see down below are at @theofficecle. So make sure to follow us, like, subscribe. And if you're getting your podcast somewhere, make sure you hit that download button for us as well. Gentlemen,
Erik, real quick.
Yes.
Just because you forgot it. Talk a little bit about this real quick.
We did forget about that. We are giving away a Donovan Mitchell jersey. And I want you to know this isn't just some off-the-rack XL, hopefully it fits you. If you win this, you're going to tell us your size, and we're getting you that jersey specifically sized for you. What you have to do is you have to follow us on our socials, X, YouTube, Instagram. We're going to pick that winner on February 3rd, and you have to be following on all 3 platforms. But you can also get an extra entry if you go to the At the Office Instagram page and repost the story for this giveaway. Do not miss out. The Cavs had a little bit of a skid, but they're still the Cavs. They're still red hot. And get in on the Donovan Mitchell jersey. We're giving that away for free. And that white jersey doesn't have to be the jersey either. We haven't really talked about that, but I think we could probably let you even pick the color.
Just let us know. As long as it's in stock, we will grab it for you. Also, if you repost any of the posts on X, whether that be from me at Noah Olson 77 or at the Office CLE, you're entered to win an extra time as well, as long as you follow all the rules. Why wouldn't you want to enter a free jersey giveaway? It's free.
Free jersey. Gentlemen, let me restart because I was cut off after the word "the." But I think you know where I was going with it, because the Ohio State University Buckeyes won the national championship. And on the day of their celebration, I almost said parade, but their celebration, in which I heard 45,000 fans showed up to, which is insane. I mean, I know it's not the million or whatever in Cleveland for that parade, but 45,000 fans in frigid temperatures, mind you, below freezing temperatures. They filed into Ohio Stadium to watch that beautiful trophy make its way to Columbus. And on the same day, Jim Knowles said the knowledge came out that he is now Penn State's new defensive coordinator. It is a strange move. I think we all were more a little like WTF and not FU. He very much helped the Ohio State defense end up number 1 at the end of this year, which helped us, of course, win that natty, that forever, one more and forever, as Jack Sawyer said. But now he's gone to Penn State, and it's a little bit of a questionable move because Penn State doesn't have the players. They don't have the funding. They don't really have anything that Ohio State has. I think John said it best the other day. Maybe it's a situation where he's climbed the mountaintop. Now he's looking for another mountain. I don't know.
Well, just take my take, Erik, and throw it out there. Now I don't have anything to say.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right.
You shouldn't put it in the chat if I don't know. We're also going to talk about Buckeyes in the NFL, but first, Jim Knowles. John, I let you go first, so you're going to go second this time. Noah, I want to hear from you. What is your take here?
I think more Buckeye fans were outraged. Not outraged. Outraged isn't the right way to put this, but a little curious of the decision and why he would go, and it's an in-conference rival, blah, 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 blah. I think this is a good play for Jim Knowles, the coach, because it could propel him into a head coaching position. It sucks that he isn't our defensive coordinator because he's done a lot of great things with our defense. He finally was part of the team to get over the hump and win another national championship after 10 years. But I believe in the Buckeye brand name to the point where I think a lot of people could come in and become a coach and be a coach, qualified people. I'm not saying John's going to go in there and be the defensive coordinator and light it up and win a national championship.
I'm an offense guy.
Right. Well, me too. I could use myself as an example at that point, but I think, we can get a qualified guy in here that'll make plenty of sense with some of the reload that may or may not happen next year as we, build to another national championship under head coach Ryan Day. It sucks, but I'm glad he was here for what he was here for. Best of luck at Penn State. Can't wait to beat you at Happy Valley or at Ohio Stadium, because you ain't ever beaten the Buckeyes with that fraud, James Franklin, as your head coach.
Where is it this year? Is it? I think it's at Ohio State.
It's at Ohio Stadium this year.
Because it was you touched on it. I want to know, do you have a short list of who you'd like to see replace him?
I haven't looked into that. I put a lot of my effort for this show into some of the Buckeyes and their correlation with the Cleveland Browns, because it's been a heavy talking point. But that is something that I would hope maybe one of you two could touch on, honestly.
John, Mountaintop, apologies for throwing your take out there, but give me your thoughts.
No, that's it. You used two words that I think describe it perfectly. If your thought is, I've gone as far in my career as I want to go, and this is all I ever want to do. It's never going to get any better than being defensive coordinator at Ohio State if all you ever want to be is a defensive coordinator. If you have higher career aspirations, then it could make a ton of sense. You come into Ohio State, you run one of the best defenses in the nation, you go to a conference rival where you'll get to face your old team and do two things. One, I know you think James Franklin is a fraud. We could debate that on another day for the fifth time, whether he is or not, but he does have a good, solid defense in terms of talent and recruits. So Jim Knowles can go into that role and still thrive, even though he's not going to be at Ohio State. But then to the other side of your argument, if James Franklin is a fraud, he's going to get booted. Go someplace where you're going to be on the short list of heir apparents to take over a premier coaching job. He's never going to be head coach at Ohio State. And if he wants to head coach, this move makes sense from the perspective that he could continue to grow his career and go someplace, frankly, where he'll be even more appreciated. Because, after winning a national championship, it's 4 more years of national championship or bust. And you never know how fans are going to take it. So he got out, he bought lower, sold high, got out as a national champ, gets to go to Penn State, maybe keep growing his career. I think from that perspective, it makes a lot of sense.
I want to play something for you guys that the defense Jim Knowles will be running in Penn State against Ohio State come October, something that he's never going to hear. He's never going to hear that third down bell for himself. He'll hear it on the other side of the ball because he's not going to stop Julian Sand in this high-powered offense. Jeremiah Smith for 205 yards, 3 TDs, 3 tutties. Listen, I'm not mad about it. He helped bring this Buckeye defense back to where it should be. My question more revolves around how it happened. Is it for their career aspirations? Was there some internal strife like we've heard? Did he maybe take exception for Day getting more involved in the defense after that Oregon loss back in September? I don't know, and I don't think we'll know these things, which, by the way, the indicator of a good organization is that we probably will never know this. If it were the Browns, it'd probably be leaked to Mary Kay next week. So I'm glad to say that we probably won't know. Listen, I think that I don't know how much of the defense, it seemed to be all Jim Knowles. And I will say there are times this year, and I'm not trying to lay anything at his feet. We just won the Natty, and we were the number 1 defense. But he gets soft throughout the game, especially when we're up. We get into that prevent defense. We don't go after the QB enough. There aren't enough design blitzes for my liking. He plays a little soft. If you watch him talk, I think he's a good defensive mind and he's a good schemer. If you watch him talk, though, during halftime, etc., he's a very, all right, guys, like, now is your time. Like, you've got to go win this quarter. He's not a fiery guy. I want Ryan Day. I want fight on 3. You're going to respect the Ohio State. He's not that guy. I don't know. Maybe the players love him. Clearly, they've responded. There's a couple guys out there. Luke Fickell is one. I'm not sure that he would want the job. I don't know where Luke's at in his career wise. Maybe
Isn't he a head coach at Wisconsin?
He is, but they're not doing a lot.
No.
He's a hell of a D coordinator. He's an Ohio
Well, it's
State
funny you
guy.
brought his name up too, because I was going to say that's one thing about Knowles leaving. One thing we know is they're going to reload. I forget who the offensive coordinator was. The name was on the tip of my tongue 30 seconds ago. But our offensive coordinator, when we won the last national championship, left. And everybody was like, what are we going to do? And then we just got another really good offensive coordinator.
Right. That's my mindset to a T right here when it comes to this whole thing. Like, it's a fun talking point. Sure. I'm ready to beat up on him the next however many years he's there. But
yeah. And this is like this is very, very different. So I know I might catch a little heat, but it's the same type of situation in my mind. If you look at government, people who work up and say, I was a White House chief of staff or I was Secretary of State. Once you leave that role, you can go do anything else you want in America because they say if you do this well in this situation with this group, we know it's going to translate every place else. So if you want to be the CEO of BP, great. Send me a resume and we'll interview tomorrow. I think there's an element of that with the Buckeyes. You get to the Buckeyes, you have all the pressure, all the demand, all the talent. You know what it takes to recruit. You know what a rabid fan base looks like. If you can thrive in that environment, Penn State's like, what are they going to say? Well, we're not sure if you're qualified. Get the fuck out of here. Like,
yeah, the pressure is less for sure. I wonder how long we'll have to wait. As you guys know, Al Golden left Notre Dame to take on the Bengals defensive job. I'm sure John's excited about that for his team down there in Kentucky. They already replaced him with Chris Ash, former Rutgers head coach. So I'm curious what that will look like for Ohio State. Are they going to take their time with this hire? Are they going to promote from within? I've heard that James Laurinaitis is in the house. I don't think that's the move. I just don't think he's ready. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't want to see that personally. Who else is out there? I'm not sure exactly.
It's nice, though, to not have to worry about it. Because if the Browns were hunting for a defensive coordinator right now, we'd be like, well, I got a list and you got a list and let's compare. And are they going to screw it up? And how are they going to screw it up? And with the Buckeyes, you're like, yeah, I don't know. Like, they'll replace him and the next guy will be really freaking good. And even if you've never – like, I even remember when they brought Ryan Day in. Urban Meyer leaves and he was the next guy up. And I remember thinking – okay, you're not going to try to call Saban. You're not going to try to call Chip Kelly at the time. You're not going to try to reach out to Dabo Swinney. We're just going with this guy. And now
he was our
like
offensive coordinator. I mean, he wasn't.
I know, but I just mean like it's Ohio State. Like if you're an offensive coordinator and that's your first time being there, you should have to go to Cincinnati and then Wisconsin and come back in 7 years.
Right.
And he was really good, right? His 1-loss record is exceptional. So I just have faith in that whole infrastructure to say it sucks that he's leaving because the defense was really good. But when you got 80 5-star recruits, the next defensive coordinator is going to be really good too. Doesn't matter who it is.
I agree on that completely.
The interesting thing in a role like this, though, is that we're talking about kids still. Ohio State loses a lot of players on the defensive side of the ball. Of course, they do have some great players returning. They have Caleb Downs returning. I don't know how he's like a second-team All-American, but Igbinosun, because swear to God, he just holds on every play. But whatever, he's returning too.
Out of Igbinosun, man, a lot of PI.
Oh man,
but that's okay. He's also really good. He gets too many.
He's a veteran
PI
guy.
calls, yeah, he's good.
So they do have some guys returning, but when we talk about all the time what we want in a head coach, and the first thing I always say is you want a leader of men because he is that CEO role. Ryan Day famously overturned play calling, or turned over play calling, I should say, and it helped them win a natty. I fully believe that. He's been able to focus on other areas of the team. That said, we're talking about young men here. There's a reason there's still difference between college athletes and the NFL and professional. I know that line's getting thinner and thinner because of the payday that these kids are getting. But they are kids. Some of them are right out of high school playing. You typically don't see that too much at Ohio State, but it happens. Jeremiah Smith was a true freshman. So you need something a little more in your coaching here. You need to be able to lead young men that's very different and bringing a culture together. Ryan Day, of course, is going to do the most heavy lifting on that front. But it should be interesting. But you're right. I'm not worried about it. It's just an interesting note.
It is.
On the other side of things, we do have players leaving Ohio State. It's a sad day. We knew it was going to happen. Some of them are out of eligibility, or else they probably would be back. That said, I want to hear if there are any Buckeyes that you guys think would be a good fit for the Browns. There are a lot of directions that this can go, but I want to hear your takes. Noah, I'm going to let you start again, so you can stop complaining. Tell me, who do you want to see, if anybody, on the Browns from Ohio State?
Yeah, I think it's important real quick to touch on all of the players that are eligible for the draft for Ohio State. We have Josh Simmons, the offensive lineman, went out early this season. Really like him for the Browns. We'll get to that in a second. Quinton Judkins, running back. We all know who he is. We all love him. Jordan Hancock, cornerback. We have Denzel Burke entered the draft. Emeka Mbuka, Donovan Jackson, Ty Hamilton, G. Scott, Tyleek Williams, and
Big boy.
Of course, Will Howard and Travion Henderson.
Will Howard, yeah. And don't forget, I didn't mention him, but Sonny Styles is also returning and is aiming for a captainship in 2025. I thought that was kind of cool.
So, in my opinion, go ahead, John.
Yeah, I was just going to say the only people your list is good. I think what we're learning about the Buckeyes is, first of all, Erik, you're right. You're like, oh, it's kind of sad that they're leaving. But one thing that I've learned over the years is that they retool. I remember being salty that Maurice Clarett was gone, and then we got Lydell Ross and Antonio Pittman and Beanie Wells, and then being like, who's this Boom Herron guy? And then next thing you know, we had Carlos Hyde, Ezekiel Elliott, and J.K. Dobbins. Like, they just keep getting good players. Trey Sermon, Travion Henderson just kept the whole thing rolling. So we'll find somebody to
it, but go on.
What'd you say?
Sermon was solid.
Sermon wasn't it, I said.
Yeah, you should go back and YouTube his highlight reel. I think just because it was 1 year, he didn't get the run that some of these 2 and 3 year guys did. He was pretty impressive in the year he played, but
I'll give you that. You know what? I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Master Teague.
Yeah, Master Teague.
Master Teague was not it.
Because he just
fantastic football name.
Yeah,
fantastic name. He would hit as a power guy. He'd hit as hard as anybody. But you know how we talk about backs running downfield? Master Teague ran uphill. He just, when you're used to Zeke and all those names you just named. Anyway, go on.
No, I mean, literally, Master Teague, who I loved because he played for 4 years, even though he never got to what we thought he could be. He was like that devoted backup for the whole time. And Mike Weber, there's like the only 2 running backs in the last 20 years where I was like, meh, okay. But I would take some of the other defenders. You didn't talk about Captain Jack, did you, Noah? Tuiamola?
Yeah, there were a few names that I bounced around, but yes, 100%.
Because after watching for a long time, I thought, okay, you're good in college, doesn't necessarily translate. There's a couple Buckeyes who are like the Chris Gambles and the stuff. You're like, they were pretty good in pro, but they weren't quite there. And then there was like Ryan Shazier, and you saw some of these guys come out, and I'm at a point now where I'm like, anybody who's good enough to be captain of an Ohio State defense is good enough for the Browns, especially at a position where we haven't had a linebacker make the Pro Bowl since Jameer Miller. I mean, like, anybody in the front.
Jack?
Yeah, Jack and. Yeah,
I don't mean any disrespect because I love Jack Sawyer. Take his heart out and put it in any other player, but he didn't do shit until the Michigan game. Where's he been the last 4 years?
Jack Sawyer?
I would take Jack Sawyer for sure, just because he didn't pass your eye test. Like Myles Garrett doesn't pass your eye test, Erik. Doesn't mean he doesn't apply to being a good NFL player. He's a second-round edge all day in this draft.
He's had 3.5, 4 incredible games. He did not do what the Bosa brothers did. He didn't do what Chase Young did. I mean,
you're talking about
the guy, but
you're talking about borderline like Hall of Fame talents, though. Like
exactly, we're talking about fits on the Brown. We're not asking for the next franchise player. Jack Sawyer
talking about practice.
We're talking about getting Myles Garrett help as the number 2 rusher. So when they double team him, somebody who could beat a single team.
And
And
how
I
did
think
that work the last several years where we got him help is my point. I just think there's bigger needs on the team.
it worked well, and then we kept getting rid of people.
You're
Jadavion
talking about
Clowney
a
looked
second.
great.
Listen,
I would like Clowney.
I'd like to cover some of this for a second. There are 3 players on this list of names that I think I'd really like to see for the Cleveland Browns. 1, Simmons, the tackle that got hurt. I think he is a fantastic sized player. He would be a great plug and play anywhere on this offensive line outside of center. I think he would make a lot of sense, especially in a scenario where the Browns are trading back from 2. When we say we fall between 8 and 12 for some reason in a trade and we get a bunch of draft capital, what have you. I'm not saying that I agree with that take, Erik, before you get all grumpy. I'm just saying this is one of the thoughts I have.
I'm just so tired of the Browns.
Yeah. Well,
it's not you, it's the Browns.
Yeah, they'll fuck it up. You know who else, Noah? I can't remember the kid's name. We've talked about him twice. We had a guy who was the preseason #1 offensive lineman in America, and he got hurt way early.
Went down too.
And he was like the premier center in all of college football and didn't play like damn near a snap this year. But unless he forgot how to play, we need offensive line help. Would you take an All-American center on the offensive line? Now, I'm not talking about Noah always goes to, which I love. Noah always goes to how it would look in the draft, where we would take these people. I just went with who played on Ohio State this year, who, if they played for the Browns next year, makes you happy at that position. And this guy is definitely that.
Well, what do you guys think about? I don't think McLaughlin's declaring, and he tore his Achilles. That's not an injury that I necessarily want to draft.
Again, I didn't say I didn't say at #2 in the first round, but if in the 7th round pick you get an All-American center with the offensive line that was Swiss cheese for most of the year, I think you take it.
Let me ask you guys this. How do you guys, because this is a player I'm high on, especially in our 3rd round. We have 2 picks there. Well, both of the next players I'll talk about are 3rd rounders in my mind. TreVeyon Henderson, how do you guys feel about him as a Cleveland Brown?
I like TreVeyon. I think we need running back help. The problem with this team is that you can say just about any unit, you go, well, we need a guy there. Well, yeah, we could use a kicker. Like, yep, we could use an O-line. Like, you can't go wrong, kind of. Will he make an impact day one? I've said all year that I felt like he was a better back with Quinshon Judkins coming in. We talked about it. Coach Day actually asked him whether or not Judkins coming, like how he felt, and he agreed to bring him in. But I felt like that competition propelled TreVeyon's game to higher heights, or maybe he was just going to be there anyway, and it was just he needed to age into that. So I think he's a good back. Will he fit on the Cleveland Browns? Sure, plug him in. Will his career be okay on the Cleveland Browns? I don't know. That's a different question. It depends who's under center.
I think he's got to go someplace like a Darren Sproles and play a turf, quick hit, fast guy kind of offense. I think the Browns in the AFC North do too much running between the tackles. TreVeyon Henderson is going to be a phenomenal talent, I think, in the pros, but he's a little small for the Browns. I see him someplace like Arizona or New Orleans or Tampa Bay. You know what I mean? Like,
he has a Chubb running style, though.
I'm not no shade, man. This dude is a stud, but
this is why I disagree with the counterpoints on him, because Erik, for example, you were talking about Judkins coming in and him blossoming as a player, right? Well, the odds are that Nick Chubb's still going to be a running back on this roster in 2025. So you have, and yes, Chubb wasn't 100% himself when we saw him and he got hurt again, but you have Chubb and Henderson as a 1-2 punch. I know Jerome Ford can be a sore topic in terms of the NFL and the Cleveland Browns, but he has shown the ability to be a 3rd down running back in passing situations in the NFL. It's a pretty good running back room in my mind. And you continue to groom and raise TreVeyon Henderson into being that bell cow back after a year or 2 with Nick Chubb.
You could also just flat out gain 25 pounds and muscle over the offseason and just be the size that we need him to be. You never know.
Amen.
I got to disagree with you in one take, and that is that I love the guy, but Nick Chubb is not the same running back. He's not going to be the same running back.
You don't need him to be when you have 2 running backs, though. That's the point.
Well, when we had 2, when they were both good, him and Mr. Super Bowl, who for some reason I'm talking about Kareem Hunt, of course, Stefanski does not like, or I don't understand still to this day. That was a great one too as well. I don't know. I think, I hate to say it, but I don't mind bringing Chubb back on a veteran minimum kind of situation, but
That's what it'll be
his
for
best
sure.
football is behind him.
I think of Travion Henderson as an Alvin Kamara-like prospect. Same size, similar running style, pass catching ability through the roof. We saw that in the national championship. We saw it in the Cotton Bowl. I almost said the Sugar Bowl. We're flipping all the games around today. I just really like him as a prospect in terms of coming in, being a second fringe first guy with whatever's going on with Nick Chubb next year. You let him learn, you let him develop, and who knows, he could end up being the guy by the end of the year, because you see that happen in the NFL all the time. The guy who's the starter gets overtaken by the rookie.
Listen, I think it'd be great, but you kind of made John's point in your comparison to a turf guy in a dome.
Yeah. I mean, Alvin Kamara was literally the reason I put the Saints on the list with like the Cardinals and the Bucks. The other thing I will say, though, with the nerves about his size, and I'll give you a really, really, really apples-to-apples example, J.K. Dobbins. Fast as shit, shifty, thought he would make a great pro, and when the man was healthy and is healthy, he looks phenomenal. And he was never healthy because you play in the AFC North, and you're 5'11" and 190 pounds, and it just doesn't work at running back. I think he's got to go someplace else for offense that fits him.
That's fair. It's a totally fair take.
If he runs 25 times a game between the tackles, he's going to die. He'll make it to week 4, and that'll be it.
Imagine a 1-2 punch with him and what's his name in Detroit. It could
Gibbs
be an interesting landing spot.
Yeah,
that's a problem.
That whole team's still a problem, even though they lost in their first game this year. I want to bounce another prospect off you guys real quick that I am high on in terms of being a fit for the Cleveland Browns. Do you guys have any guesses on who I'm about to bring up?
Will Howard, check and check. I'm all there with you.
Okay. So Will Howard.
Wait a minute. You're all in on Will Howard to be quarterback for the Browns, and I was taking shit for saying Jack could play opposite Myles Garrett.
Hold on. No. I'm all in drafting Will Howard and developing him.
Oh, okay.
I didn't say playing his core. I'm not sticking him in there week 1.
Yeah.
Or any week. I hope he doesn't play a single. I hope he plays garbage time.
Are you going to say Jalen Fielding?
No, I was going to say Will Howard.
Oh, because we need a kicker too.
Jake
Ruggles is probably out there somewhere.
Field? Anyway,
Jaden, I think.
Regardless, John, how do you feel about Will Howard, man? Because I feel I have a comparison to be an asshole, but I'll wait until I hear both of your guys' takes first.
If you say Baker Mayfield, I'm going to kill you.
No, Will Howard's 6'5", Baker Mayfield's all of 5'10", but continue.
That's what I was going to tell you. That was not he's probably 6 feet. Give him a break.
6 feet if he's got the cleats on and he's standing on concrete, not in the grass, with a hat on, with a lifted hat lid like both of you guys are wearing right now. He might just scratch the 6 feet.
I know. I'm 6'5" today.
Number 3 passer in the league this year, wasn't he? Anyway, we digress. We don't need to go back down that road. I wouldn't mind Will Howard, but I don't want him as the answer. If you say our quarterback room is the same as it is now and all we added was Will Howard, we're going to stink again. He's a nice development project. He's better than DTR, I think. I'd rather see him maybe back than even the Jameis Winston, but like he can't be the starter coming out of training camp. He's got to be a clipboard holder and a backup project like DTR sort of is, and then you got to get somebody else to start. But yes, if he's your backup quarterback coming out of camp next year, or a scrappy third stringer, yes, I would like to see Will Howard here next year, just not starting.
Yeah, I mean,
I agree with
the exact same.
I agree with all of your guys' sentiments. You got to bring in someone. Are you about to say Kirk Cousins, Erik?
Yeah, bring in Kirk. Let him develop. Trade DTR to Baltimore. Let's just get him out of Cleveland.
So I want to give you guys a comparison just to be that guy. Will Howard.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, who do you think I'm going to compare him to?
Tim Couch.
No, Noah's too young for Tim Couch.
That's fair.
Well, hey, I got a new Tim Couch bobblehead, by the way. I shouldn't say
hey, we didn't ask about the bobblehead. We asked about comparisons.
I think you're gonna say.
Well, that's all the time we have for the show tonight. Thanks for joining us.
You could guess too, Jonathan.
I guessed twice.
Tim Couch and then who?
I said Baker Mayfield and Tim Couch.
Joe
Okay, go ahead.
Flacco. Who's the guy in San Diego?
I'm just going to stop you there because my comparison is one Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco, 6'6", 245. Will Howard, 6'5", 235. Similar arm talents. I think they both fit the Shanahan-Stefanski style. Did I say Shanahan?
Yes.
But I meant Stefanski style offense perfectly in terms of the play action and the different things that a quarterback with their size, stature, and arm would be good at. I love him as a developmental piece behind a guy like maybe Joe Flacco. Bring Flacco back. I don't care.
Can I just ask, where's that best take chain? Because John's over here giving me shit for thinking for a second, but I nailed it on my first go.
I'll ship it to you in the mail.
I had a week and a half. I'd have nailed it too.
Are there any other guys you're thinking? Those were the three I wanted to touch on. I wasn't trying to completely take this over here, but those are three guys that I really would not mind seeing in the Cleveland Browns, depending on draft circumstance and stuff like that.
I'd love to see JTT a linebacker next year. We don't have any great linebackers. I think that would be a great fit. Again, not at number 2.
Erik, you got to remember that there's 7 rounds in the draft.
I know. I will tell you what I don't want to see, and that is I don't want to see any Ohio State player go to Pittsburgh because they nail the pick every single time, and then you have Cam Hayward there for 20 years, and that'll frustrate the hell out of me. So if you think Pittsburgh's going to draft the Ohio State player, I think we should just move up and take whoever they were thinking.
Yeah. And don't forget about Shazier. He would still be driving you crazy too, except for that awful injury.
For sure.
I like your picks, Noah. I don't know. I mean, yeah, will I get behind a Captain Jack coming on the Browns? That'd be freaking fantastic. But I've seen nothing so far from the front office. What is our plan at quarterback? Like, what are we doing?
It's too early to tell right now, man.
I want to know now, damn it.
Well, you don't get it plays. Now. We still have whole NFL draft to break down. We're only at the Senior Bowl right now. Brother.
I know, but Noah,
and
I know
the only
you talked
pick
about
that matters is the first pick if they still think they're contenders, and that's what we really still don't know.
John, do you
every time
do you
they
hear
get
us?
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
Every time they now I lost the thread.
Sorry.
Oh, every time the I have no idea what I was gonna say. Go ahead, E.
I kind of lost my thought too.
We were talking about quarterback answers and how Erik wants to know if Kirk Cousins is the starter or Jack Sawyer is going to start at quarterback right now. And yes, I said Jack Sawyer on purpose.
The thing that I was thinking was you have to know whether you're competing or not. The Browns front office keeps saying we don't have to blow it up and start over. And if they think this is a team that can still be in a Super Bowl window, you got to take somebody in the first and second round that could start and help. And then you think you're going to get a quarterback who can take you there. If they're rebuilding, my whole mindset changes, and we don't know which of those two it is yet.
I want to say, and I don't want to spend too much time on this because I know Noah and Matt talked about it on Monday, but I have changed my tune, and I am all here and all for Kevin Stefanski calling plays again. And I know the article that you guys went and read that I wrote on Fan First Sports said the complete opposite. But that press conference made me a believer because this is a guy that's making jokes. This is a guy that feels light. This is a guy that's putting the pressure on his shoulders when he knows if they stagnate again, he's probably gone. I'm here for it.
And they say the sign of a great offensive coordinator is lightness and jokes.
Well, we're going to find out, aren't we?
Gentlemen, the Guardians can be a fan favorite running off of friendship and vibes for 10 straight seasons or however long it's been, 40 plus really, ever since John was in his 20s or whatever. The Cleveland Browns can do the same damn thing, damn it. Let's go 7-10 and have a great time.
You're forgetting one little piece of the Guardians/Indians, friendship, vibes, and the playoffs.
Yeah.
And the Browns are missing that kind of crucial last part.
That's
except
fair.
for twice in my lifetime. Gentlemen, any last words on Ohio State, on the Browns, on the state of football?
I'm ready to get spicy with you guys.
In that case, let's bring it to our favorite and final take, which is, of course, random thoughts and hot takes. John, I will let you go first now. Say your piece.
Well, thank
It'll probably
you,
be
sir.
something
I'm gonna go ahead
sad
and get
and-
this bad boy
I
back
heard
up.
the goddamn chain. I knew you were gonna do that. Oh
Noah,
my
you're
God.
producing today. Will you hit the mute button?
No mutes. You can't.
Anyway, so
By
Erik,
the time you
what is
guys
your
find
final-
it, I'll have figured out how to turn it off. You already kicked it to me, and you're the producer. Earlier, we had a debate as to who was the MVP, and I hate the MVP every year because it doesn't really go to the most valuable player. It goes to the most outstanding player. Most valuable player, the people who get you where you need to go at the end of the season. I know it's not a playoff award. Noah and Erik were right in saying that for the regular season, it was Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen, but I humbly argued that Saquon Barkley and Patrick Mahomes should be in the argument, and all Saquon Barkley did was run 15 times for 118 yards and 3 touchdowns, while Pat Mahomes took his team to the 3rd straight Super Bowl. So my hot take is, don't get so caught up in the glitz and glam. Sometimes the regular season isn't the most important thing, and if I was in the GM seat and had to get a guy who I needed to rely on to get me to a Super Bowl, there's no chance I would take Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson before Pat Mahomes. He's the real MVP, regardless of what they tell you when they make the election.
All right. That's it's not the hottest take because I kind of agree. Noah, give me your hot take.
Yeah, my hot take literally just hit me on the top of my head. I had a different one that I was going to use, but I'm going to use this one instead. MLB season is fast approaching, and I'm very excited to get back to the ballpark and watch some games and enjoy some shandies and some dogs and do the whole thing, right? The Guardians have not yet announced what their payment structure is going to be to watch their games for the 2025 season. Other teams around the league, I believe the Twins, have announced that it is going to be like $100 to $150 flat fee or $20 a month. We're going to get 1 year of this MLB network, MLB.com bullshit, and we're going to go back to someone picking it up pretty quick because I don't think this is going to be a fruitful endeavor for either the league nor the team, despite all of the revenue going there. I don't think that people are going to see the value in it in terms of marketing dollars and advertising dollars compared to, say, a different sports network. And so buckle up, pay your one-time fee if you're like me and want to watch every Guardians game you possibly can. But that's that. And I don't think
Gavin,
they did.
that answer is no.
Gavin asked if the Guardians joined the Cavs on FanDuel. FanDuel is just Bally's still. It's the same network.
Yeah, they dropped. MLB retained all those rights. Not to get in the long of the short of it. I agree with you though, Noah. First of all, sports should be free. I know we work for a company that started a sports station along with the Cavs, which is Rock Entertainment Sports Network, where you can go watch things right now. And there will be Cavs games on there as well. Sports should be free for everybody in the community to watch. Not only are there many people in the community that cannot pay to get those games. I mean, they just don't have the means to do so. But like you said, I think it's going to be clunky. Nobody's going to do that. I'm a huge baseball fan. I don't know that I'm going to be paying $20 a month just so I can watch Guardians. Like, it's just another thing. And I think we're just about subscriptioned out at this point as a society. That said, my hot take, I was telling these guys earlier, I sent it in the group chat and then I unsended real quick because I'm like, you know what? I want this to be my hot take. Since we were talking Pat Riley anyway, little fun fact for you gentlemen, but Pat Riley owns multiple trademarks on the phrase three-peat. So it goes back to his days as Lakers head coach. The legend has it that Lakers guard Byron Scott was actually the first one to say three-peat, which then became a motto of the Lakers 88-89 season when they were looking for that three-peat. But Riley, who was the head coach, trademarked the word. And every time there's a three-peat, he makes money off of it, going back decades now. So in 98, when the Bulls had repeat the three-peat on their hats, when in 2000, the Yankees won their third in a row. And then the Lakers did so less than 2 years later with Phil Jackson. Every single time he has cashed in, this covers things like shirts, jackets, hats, jewelry, mugs, posters, trading cards, etc. Every time the words three-peat are within or on something, on a piece of clothing, he's taking about a 5% royalty fee, which is just fantastic. Maybe he will be owner of the Heat eventually. By the way, it's estimated that fans will spend around $18.6 billion on this year's Super Bowl, 2.6 billion of which would be on team apparel alone, which is absolutely insane. But I can probably guess who Mr. Riley is rooting for, and that would be the Kansas City Chiefs to make the three-peat. Any last thoughts before we wrap things up, gentlemen?
I just want to say it's been a pleasure. John, your chain looks stupid. Erik, I love the Scrappers hat. It goes hard as hell. That's all I got. Love you, boys.
Yeah, we talked about what sports and what teams have done what. You know, I throw in a little hockey trivia. The Montreal Canadiens have both 5-peated and 4-peated in separate runs in the NHL. So they do it over there all the time.
I wanted to give you shit for adding on to the hot take, even though I do that all the time. But your use of Canadiens was just so pitch perfect there. The resident hockey guy. I can't even say anything bad about it.
Appreciate
gentlemen, it has been fun. Thank you for joining us at The Office, sponsored by D&D Meadery. Don't forget to subscribe or hit that download button if you're listening to the audio-only version of our show. Check us out on all of our socials at @The Office CLE. Have a great day and an even better